Hi everybody, welcome to class today. I'm just here in Vancouver between flights. I was hoping to do a class in Hong Kong, but I got a little bit busy and a little bit tired over there. So I'm just doing it here at my commuter place in Vancouver. So this is going to be part one of two classes I'm going to do just on Kriya Tantra precepts, just practice precepts when you're starting practice Kriya Tantra. So this class will be a little bit longer than the second one, and then the second one will be a little bit shorter. So it's basically sort of three parts. I'll cover the first main part here today, and it's like in the second session I'll do the other two smaller parts on the precepts. Okay, so let's get started here with our Heart Sutra. Switch classes here. Getting to the point where I have all these different classes I have to put on for different stuff. Okay. All right. Essence of Wisdom Sutra. Homage, perfection of wisdom, the Blessed Mother. Thus I have heard at one time the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgir and Mass Vultures Mountain, together a great assembly of monks and nuns and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. That time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the concentration of countless aspects of phenomena called profound illumination. That time also Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great beings, looking perfectly the prize profound perfection of wisdom, looking perfectly also the five aggregates being empty of inherent existence. Then the power Buddha, Venerable Shariputra, said to Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, how should the son of the lineage train who wishes to engage in the practice of profound perfection of wisdom? Thus he spoke, and Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, replied to Venerable Shariputra as follows. Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of the lineage wishes to engage the practice of profound perfection of wisdom should look perfectly like this. Subsequently, looking perfectly and correctly at the five aggregates being empty of inherent existence, form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form, and form is not other than emptiness. Likewise, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are emptiness, having no characteristics. They are not produced and do not cease. They have no defilement, no separation from defilement. They have no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, and no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mentality, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no tactile object, no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so forth, up to no mentality element, and also up to no element of no consciousness. There is no ignorance, no exhaustion of ignorance, and so forth, up to no aging and death, and no exhaustion of aging and death. Likewise, there's no suffering, origin, cessation, or path, no exalted awareness, and no attainment, also no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there's no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide in the perfection of wisdom. Their minds have no obstructions and no fear. Passing utterly beyond perversity, they attain the final nirvana. Also, all Buddhas reside perfectly in the three times, having relied upon the perfection of wisdom, became manifest, complete Buddhas in a state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the equal to the unequaled mantra, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, since it's not false, should be known as the truth. And the mantra of perfection of wisdom is proclaimed, Tayata Gada Gada Paragata Parsam Gadi Bodhisoha. Shariputra, Bodhisattva, great being, should train the profound perfection of wisdom like this. Then the Blessed One arose in that concentration and said to Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, that he'd spoken well. Good, O son of the lineage, is like that, since it's like that, just as you have revealed. In that way, the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced, and the Tathagatas will also rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Venerable Shariputra, Spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, the entire circle of disciples, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, demigods, and spirits, were delighted and highly praised what had been spoken by the Blessed One. Okay, we'll just do a few prayers here, just to sort of bless our practice and study. So for Ganden Lagema, or Guru Yoga of Lama Tsongkhapa. So we can imagine ourselves seated in a wide open space, beautiful ground like blue lapis lazuli, and ourselves surrounded by all sentient beings. So we can feel that our mother is on our left, our father on our right, people we love the most behind us as support, and people we like the least or have issues with in front of us as objects of our compassion. And moving upward from there, people from all over the world, beings of the natural sort of ecosphere, sort of planet Earth, or sort of the animal realm here, from little tiny insects to large mammals, fish and birds and so forth. All natural living things. The spirit world as well, for all different spirit beings being here from the bardo and the different planes like astral, ethereal, elemental planes. celestial beings like the gods and demigods, goddesses, demigoddesses, and countless beings in lower states of rebirth like the hungry ghost and hell realms. So all of us here, like a beautiful sort of spiritual family, ready to meditate. The beautiful cloudless sky above us. And here we're visualizing Ganden or Tashita Pure Land. Beautiful Pure Land, all temples, cathedrals, and so forth. In the center of it, a beautiful cathedral, is the fifth universal Buddha, Buddha of loving kindness, Maitreya, seated in a throne. And he's holding in the turning the wheel of Dharma Mudra 2 white lotuses. It has a crown and golden body. And at his heart, from a beautiful gold and eternal knot symbol, comes all white fluffy clouds. And on it, on lion thrones, lotus and moon, sun and moon seats, we can visualize Je Tsongkhapa and its 2 heart students. So Je Tsongkhapa, Japa Gyatso, and Kedrupche. So he's in the form we usually see him in lotus position wearing 3 robes of a monk, yellow pennant's hat, hands in the turn the wheel of Dharma Mudra, holding 2 white lotuses at his ears, one with the Prajnaparamita text, the other with the flaming sword. And then in front of him, to his left, is Kedrupche, and to his right is Japa Gyatso, Gyatsobje. And they're wearing the 3 robes of monk in lotus position with their legs, and they've got the teaching mudra with their left hand holding a text. So they're coming forward just in front of us here on their little clouds. And we take refuge, I and all sentient beings, until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings, till we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I and all sentient beings, until we achieve enlightenment, go for refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Through the virtues we collect by giving other perfections, may we become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues we collect by giving other perfections, may we become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Through the virtues we collect by giving other perfections, may we become a Buddha for the benefit of all. From the heart of the protector, the hundreds of deities of the joyful land, where the peak of a cloud is like a cluster of fresh white curd, all-knowing Losendrapa, King of the Dharma, please come to this place together with your sons. In the space before me, in a lion throne, lotus and moon, the venerable Guru, smile of delight. O supreme field of merit from my mind of faith, please remain for 100 aeons to spread the doctrine. Your mind of wisdom realizes the full extent of objects of knowledge. Your eloquent speech is the ear ornament of the fortunate, and your beautiful body is the blaze of the glory of renown. I prostrate to you, whom to see, to hear, and to remember is so meaningful. Pleasing water offerings, various flowers, sweet-smelling incense, light, scented water, and so forth, a vast cloud of offerings will set out and imagine, and offer to you, supreme field of merit. Whatever non-virtues of body, speech, and mind have accumulated since time without beginning, especially transgressions of my 3 vows, with great remorse I confess each one from the depths of my heart. In this degenerate age you strove for much learning and accomplishment, and the 8 worldly concerns you made your leisure and endowment meaningful. O Protector, from the very depths of my heart, I rejoice in the great wave of your deeds. From the billowing clouds of wisdom and compassion, space of your truth body, O venerable and holy Gurus, please send down a rain of vast, profound Dharma appropriate disciples of this world. Through the virtues I've accumulated here, may the doctrine all living beings receive every benefit, and especially may the essence of the doctrine, venerable Losendrapa, shine forever. Now, holding beautiful mandala at our hearts here is an offering to the Gurus, the ground sprinkled with perfume and spread with flowers, a great mountain, 4 lands, sun and moon, seen as a Buddha land, and offer thus may all beings enjoy such pure lands. We send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Gurus. Om Idam Guru Radha Mandala Kamyatiyami. Now, from the heart of Je Tsongkhapa and his 2 students, Japa Gyatso and Kedrupche, beautiful golden light is coming down, blessing us and empowering us as we chant the Mikseme mantra 3 times here. Me se wei ter chen chen rei zi, Pri me kien be won po jam pao Du pun ma lu jom se sang wei dan, An chen ke pe sun kien song ka pa, Lo sang dra pe sha pla so wan, Make me say way to her chen chen raising. Free me can pei wang po cham pao yang. Du bun ma lu jom se sang wei dan. Gan chen ke pei sun ken song ka pao. Lo san dra pei sha bla so wan. Make me say way ter chen chen raising. Free me can pei wang po cham pao yang. Du pung ma lu chom se sang wei dan. Gan chen ke pei sun ken song ka pao. Lo san dra pe sha bla so wan ding. Now dissolving the gurus into our heart here, just so the whole merit field and the two students, Japa Gyatso and Gejupche, dissolve into Jesam Kappa. It becomes very small, like a little beautiful piece of gold, and then sort of floats down the crown of her head and dissolves into our heart, giving us his blessing. Recite the three verses here. O glorious and precious Rukuru, please sit in the lotus and moon seat at my heart. Please care for me with your great kindness and grant me blessings of your body, speech, and mind. O glorious and precious Rukuru, please sit on the lotus and moon seat of my heart. Please care for me with your great kindness and bestow the common and supreme attainments. O glorious and precious Rukuru, please sit in the lotus and moon seat at my heart. Care for me with great kindness and remain firm until I attain the essence of enlightenment. And now dedication here. Through being careful throughout all my lives by Conquer Sankappa, as my Mahayana Guru, may I never turn away even from an instant by this excellent path praised by all the conquerors. Okay, so welcome to class, and just a few remarks just on the previous class that I offered on empowerment. So that's, I record that, and it's something like that might end up sort of promoting a little bit more confusion than I think I would intend it to, in the sense that, like I say, different traditions and lineages have their own understandings of empowerments. And then your teacher might change things around based on the audience or what the students have. So, like I might have mentioned, if I didn't, I'll mention it now. My guru, Sasa Rinpoche, said something funny. He said, you think there's a specific way to do empowerments, and then, like our great lineage gurus in India, Tilopa and Naropa, the story at one point, Naropa had been asking for this one initiation. Tilopa said, yeah, one day, don't worry about it, one day, da, da, da. And then they were walking. I don't know if they're in northern Indian, Rishikesh, or, I don't know, some like up there was maybe a little bit more, is it Rajasthan, maybe more of a desert or something. Like that. It might have just been like when I was in Bihar state, there was places like that that were really dry. So it's almost like a little bit of a desert they're walking through, and then suddenly, and they're yogis, they have like nothing, right? And there's like nothing around. And Tilopa says, okay, now I'm going to give you this empowerment, like right now. And Naropa's like, oh, whoa, okay. And so Tilopa says, you have to make an offering. And so Naropa's like, there's just like nothing, right? I don't have any money. I can't go to the store. What am I going to do? And so he famously, there's some sand there or something. He's like, well, I have to go pee. So he goes pee and makes kind of a little bit of a mud puddle. And then he shapes a mandala plate. He makes Mount Meru and the four continents and this and that. And then he offers this up. And so Tilopa accepts it. And then when he accepts it, he just like smashes it over Naropa's head. And it's like, that's the empowerment, right? So now, of course, Tilopa is a enlightened being and whatever else, a great tantric master. So you can do something like that. So we always have to keep that in mind, that these are formal rituals that change, that can change, do change this and that. So when I'm reading, like my teacher Dave Gonzalez's books, like the sort of the essay there and the stuff from J. Tsongkhapa, I just have to give you kind of like the traditional recipe here, just so you know, right? So we talk about the difference between a Wang and a Jainong, and of course the three levels of Kriya Tantra: the Tathagata, Padma or Lotus, and then Vajra class, and how you want the full Longchen for the top class, and you can do the two lower classes. So for Tathagata, do Lotus and Vajra, right? And let's say you just have the Wong for the Vajra class. That's you can only do deities for that class, right? Same thing if you just do the Longchen for the Lotus class is just for Lotus and Vajra class. So I think that that's really clear, and that the difference between that and a Jainong, and how a lot of times now teachers just give Jainongs blessing, body, speech, and mind, very, very short empowerment. So all I'm saying is that if you have the merit and would like to, and I think it's wonderful, when you're asking for empowerments from your teacher, you can ask for a full Wangchen. Now, they might not have time, you might not have the merit, there might be all sort of conditions that prevent that at the time, but you can always ask and just say, oh, to my Kempo or Geshe or Rinpoche or Lama or whatever, I know it's just easier to give the Jainong for this deity, but would it be okay if we do sort of like the 2-day Wong for it, sort of the Wong and the Jainong, so I get the complete transmission. I'm an old-fashioned, kind of like ultra-Orthodox person. I want the original recipe, and then it's up to them what they do and what you have merit for, what they judge is appropriate for you, right? But I always think it's nice to know this. You can at least ask for this kind of stuff. And they can at least try and offer this to you or something. So that's the reason I was reading that part from David Gonzalez's work. I think it's really, really good. He was very, very big into that. Of course, he was very traditional, but I think there's a real value to knowing that difference and sort of working with it. Okay, so this class here I'm going to go on to will be basically a talk about the precepts of Kriya Tantra practice. So, of course, the vows and commitments of Kriya Tantra, in some ways it's kind of easy, but it's basically just the vows and commitments of the, let me just see if I've got that one here. 71, I want to make sure. Yeah, perfect. It's so the commitments you take as a Kriya Tantra practitioner are the basically Hinayana and Mahayana vows, right? So we're talking about the Pratimoksha vows, so no killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, or intoxicants. Foundational vows as a Buddhist, refuge vows, and knowing sort of the downfalls of refuge vows, as well as the benefits of keeping refuge vows. Right. Then there are the bodhisattva vows. So what they are, the sort of 8 things you have to do, and then the 18 downfalls and 45, 46, I can't remember right now, secondary downfalls. So in the course I've done on Buddhist ethics here on the channel, I'm not going to go into this, we don't have time, I've already talked about this enough. And there's really, really good stuff available, both online and great, and still read books that you can buy on sort of Tibetan Buddhist, let's say, ethics, and where we can talk about, again, like the different vows and commitments of, let's say, Pratimoksha freedom vows, and again, refuge, and ultimately the big one being the bodhisattva vows. So that's your main practice, is doing your vow work and commitment work is what Tantra is all about, is what basically karma and emptiness is what we're trying to teach here in the Gelugpa tradition. And that ethical work is the work that you do as a sutric practitioner in the Mahayana tradition, as well as a tantric practitioner in the Vajrayana tradition. If you're doing Kriya Tantra, you're doing the same work as you were doing as a sutra student. You're still doing, keeping your refuge vows, your Pratimoksha vows, and your bodhisattva vows. It's the same work. The only difference is the technology you have to do it is more subtle and deep and wonderful with Kriya Tantra. But in terms of your actual precepts and vows, it's the same thing. So it's the same work you were doing when you started studying Lam Rim in the 3 principal paths. So that's when I talk about precepts. First of all, you're going to think, oh, well, what are vows and commitments? That's what the vows and commitments are. So you have to sort of study that and make that your main life's work. So all your vows, because the whole point is understand the unity of dependent origination of karma and emptiness, and of course how karma ultimately is a projection of aspects of appearances in your mind, right? And so we're purifying our mind. Our habits are what create our perception. We've got bad habits, self-cherishing, delusion, this and that, and ignorance, so we suffer. We want to have a pure perception by having the 3 higher trainings of moral discipline, ethics, shamatha, concentration, and vipassana, working on wisdom, realizing emptiness. So that's our main thing. And it's just like training to be a world class musician, let's say classical musician, learning all that, going to school, sort of your classical musician seminary, or being a Olympic athlete and training with your coach and your doctors and all your previous Olympic athlete friends who are helping you do this. It's that kind of work where it's your whole life and you're trying to work at that level of a game, so to speak, by making your vows and commitments sort of your main practice, your main whole world, the life world, to use Husserlian terms, the life world that you end up living in. So what am I talking about when I talk about Kriya Tantra precepts this way? Well, Kriya Tantra is a whole, basically, lifestyle of wholesomeness, integrity, and purity. So in addition to those vows and precepts and commitments, vows and commitments, the pratimoksha, refuge, and bodhisattva vows, we have the Kriya Tantra precepts, right? Like the lifestyle of being a Kriya Tantra practitioner. So this is pretty stressful. When you read it, you're like, I can't do that. But it's just like, that's why you practice. Just like as an Olympic athlete, you can't run the, like when you first start, you can't run the 100-meter dash in a good time. After years of practicing, all of a sudden you're working at that high level as an elite athlete. It's the same thing here with Kriya Tantra. This stuff was done 2,000 years ago in India, so you had a whole culture and civilization that understood this and supported it, making it probably a little bit easier. Now, here I am at the collapse of the Third American Empire, and downtown North America. It's hard to live this kind of a lifestyle if you want. It's very, very difficult, and that's why it's a bit of a challenge. So when you're looking at higher Tantra, Anuttara Yoga Tantra, or let's say in my tradition, Maha, Anu, and Ati Yoga, anything goes. Like you're sort of bringing everything onto the path. Whereas, so in a lot of ways, it's a little bit easier. And I know in the Haruka and Vajrayana Tantras, they're very clear where they say the more diluted and impure and sort of awful the world gets, the better your practice. The more desire and more attachment, the more it's like a nuclear reaction, the stronger your practice is going to be, because you have so many things and objects you're encountering that help you meditate. Kriya Tantra is the other way around, where we're actually trying to live a very pure and outwardly wholesome life. So we're trying to actually making everything a safe place, so to speak, for our practice. So this makes it a little bit harder and a little bit more challenging in a culture, civilization, and time we live in right now in Kali Yuga age. So the key is you read this, if you want to be a tantric practitioner at the Kriya Tantra level and make this a whole life world or lifestyle, it's a long list and it's a lot of work, but you do your best. And that's just when I led Kriya Tantra retreats. So you read this and I was like, oh my God, how are we going to do this? It's like, look, do your best. But the point is, this is the ideal you're looking at. You might want to work out at the gym every day, but of course you're not going to do it because you're still in bed, like scrolling Instagram or something, and skip your gym date. It's the same thing here. We just have to keep trying to be better and better Kriya Tantra practitioners. So it starts in the Naram Chenmo when Geshe Kappa introduces Kriya Tantra. I'll read this, the whole long verse, sort of prose poem here, and then I'll give it a little bit of a commentary here. So it says, having become a receptacle, how to maintain purity of pledges and vows. In other words, if we keep this Kriya Tantra, these precepts of purity, it'll make it easier, sort of more of a better container to keep your pratimoksha and your refuge and bodhisattva vows. That's the whole point. In my explanation of root infractions, I have insensibly indicated the vows taken at the time of conferring the initiation, these being the bodhisattva vows, since tantric vows are limited to yoga tantra and highest yoga tantra. Root infractions of those vows, and so forth. Therefore, I will describe the other pledges. In chapter on knowledge mantra discipline in the Susiddhi Tantra, it says, here's a long quote from this Tantra that Geshe Kappa includes in his book, quote, I will explain the discipline of repeating secret mantra through abiding in which repeaters will quickly attain the feats. A wise practitioner does not despise any of the secret mantras or any of the gods or any great being of repetition. A wise person does not fabricate secret mantra rites or secret mantras, and does not deride persons who have a bad disposition. Even if the guru reveals the mandala becomes a bad deeds, he never derides him with speech or with mind. A wise person does not use knowledge mantras in anger, for suppression or for binding, cutting, defeating, or fierceness. He does not assume a secret mantra unless another grants permission. Though he knows the right, he does not give secret mantra to those without reverence or respect. One who is skilled in Tantra does not get secret mantras, seals, or details of rites or explanation of tantras and mandalas to one who has not entered a mandala. Do not eat or step over any of the varieties of seals and likenesses of weapons of sentient beings. An intelligent practitioner does not deride the medicines. He does not let filth touch them, nor let his foot pass over them. Those of the Mahayana intelligence should not debate out of competitiveness. Having heard about strong bodhisattvas, one should never disbelieve their powers. Never compete with practitioners through the use of mantras. Do not engage in fierceness, having angered at small faults. One abiding in a repetition rite should not sing, dance, or play, not wear garlands or colors, for the sake of gaining beauty. Completely abandon stepping over others, jumping, running, making a clamor, and physical bad forms. An abider in true practice should forsake false, cruel, altered, harsh, divisive speech, and not make senseless talk. Do not live with or argue with foreigners. Do not repeat secret mantra with those of bad lineage, such as butchers. When the intelligent repeat, except for just a mantra servant, they do not talk at all with others without purpose. Do not anoint the body with oils. Also, do not eat sesame. One wanting feet should completely forsake turnip, garlic, salts, as well as different varieties of sour condiments, sour yeast, peas, sesame candy, and red beans. A repeater of secret mantra should forsake all foods and bringers of harm, all sacrificial food, krasara, and milk soup. Do not mount chariots and so forth. Do not step on lotuses and the like. Do not let your foot touch food which has been thrown away. A repeater of secret mantra should abandon all acts of charm, having shoes and umbrellas for show in all the adornments of the body. Do not rub a foot with a foot, nor rub a hand with a hand. Do not dispose of feces and urine in water. Do not dispose of it near water. Do not eat with just the hands, nor in a bronze bowl. Also, do not eat from leaves. The wise should not eat desirous food. A wise practitioner does not sleep with others on beds or couches in uncleanliness, nor supine, nor with the face down. Do not eat again and again, nor very little, nor too much. Do not eat at all. Double negative there. So in other words, don't not eat. And do not eat what you doubt. Do not take pleasure in the strange, nor look at any amusements. Do not desire the mind of attachment, unbridled behavior with regard to women or men, let's say. An abider in repetition rite should not at all use food and activities of physical, verbal, and mental restraint. A wise household or repeater does not wear clothes of dyed color. He also does not wear old or smelly clothing. Do not deride yourself. Do not dislike yourself. Do not become depressed. Do not let illness overpower. Except in response to one's guru, one should not leave off secret mantra with an obscured mind. Deride not mantra repetition, nor let your firmness be loosened. Repeaters should say a secret mantra with his mind without his mind straying to anything else, without many thoughts, and without the thought of desire for the unclean. Do not perform rites for expelling demons, nor protections or reversals. A repeater should not perform poisonous rites with his own mantra or through others. Except when they are needed for practice, do not use secret mantra in other ways. Do not use secret mantras for competition or for testing prowess. The intelligent should repeat 3 times and should bathe 3 times every day. So, also, another little subsequent quote here is a practitioner should especially do worship on the 8th, 14th, and 15th, and for half a month of magical display for the lunar calendar. He should respectfully make effort in repetition burnt offerings or fire pujas, offerings likewise in keeping the vows, and particularly in the meritorious. And then one last quote here also, a repeater should always think of the sayings in the discipline of knowledge mantra. Do this, do not do that in the vows of the precepts. Night and day you should forsake a desire for your own pleasure. Be without slothfulness. Towards having done these, this should be done. At night, individually confess deeds done without awareness during the day. Those done at night, confess in the morning. Thoroughly rejoice in what was done well. A practitioner should earnestly abide in repetition, burnt offerings, cleanliness, superior knowledge mantras, self-restraint, and for the discipline of knowledge mantra. Wow, so that's a lot. So you'd have to, if you get the Naram Chenmo book, Deity Yoga, sort of commented on by His Holiness the Dalai Lama Jeffrey Hopkins, who translate that work by Jason Kappa. We have in the book, you have the sort of set of verses here, which is really, really beautiful. So I'm going to go over them. I've got a little document here where I have Kriya Tantra, Lay Rung in particular doing the retreat, but in a lot of ways with Kriya Tantra, you kind of have to be like this all the time. So it's not like being on your best behavior when you're doing a permission retreat for the fire puja to enter the mandala of the Kriya Tantra deity. Technically, you kind of got to be like this all the time, just getting up, going about your day, going to work and so forth, and going back to bed. You have to sort of be in this container of this lifestyle all the time. So it would be like being sort of a really old-fashioned, let's say, very strong Methodist or very sort of devout Protestant Christian, for instance, or Orthodox or ultra-Orthodox Jew, or being like a very Orthodox Muslim. Like we look at people that live that way, let's say particularly in the sort of ultra-Orthodox Jewish tradition, an entire lifestyle. We dress a certain way, hang out with sort of people that they're part of your Sangha, even in terms of where you can go on Sabbath, what you eat, kosher food, all this kind of stuff, very, very strict. Technically, Kriya Tantra is a lot like that, which is why I know a lot of people are like, okay, no, thank you. I'll take the highest Yoga Tantra where it doesn't matter, I can kind of do anything. So Kriya Tantra, yeah, because again, we're trying to build this sort of mandala of purity and really purify our mind and tame our mind, right? We have to have these rules. I would recommend Lama Yeshe's book, one of my favorite teachers. Unfortunately, never got to meet him. He died in 1984, and I was a young boy at the time. He wrote a great commentary on Vajrasattva. I have the original text, and it's called Tantric Path of Purification. I think now it's called Becoming Vajrasattva. It's an excellent book. You should have it anyway. And it's got all sorts of commentaries on how to do, in particular, a Vajrasattva retreat, purification retreat. So 2 of the chapters there on retreat have all these protocols, and technically they're Kriya Tantra protocols, except the way Lama Yeshe writes, it's so good, and he's so clear and warm-hearted, and it's just like an excellent text. So I would really recommend, again, Lama Yeshe's Becoming Vajrasattva and the 2 retreat chapters in there. So for higher Tantra, he's also got a couple chapters on Sog in there that are really, really excellent and helpful and very knowledgeable. I'd recommend that one. But the 2 Kriya Tantra chapters in there on retreat are really, really good. So let's get started here with the commentary. So, okay, I have this in my document called Kriya Tantra Lay Rung Rules, or Kriya Tantra Rules. Okay, so this is the commitment. So if you're doing a Kriya Tantra permission retreat with fire puja to get the permission to enter the mandala of the deity to do mandala actions, you really have to follow these rules here. So I have number 1, never criticize any kind of Tantra or God or divine being or goddess or any person practicing Tantra or with Tantric or Buddhist vows. 2, never make up or invent tantric teachings. So a lot of these I've just taken, obviously, this little list here. I'm just trying to ease your language from that big verse sort of prose poem I just read. And then there's stuff from Lama Yeshe's book too. So number 2, never make up or invent tantric teachings. Nowadays people do that. Okay. 3, never criticize the guru or lama with your speech or mind or blame them. 4, never do any practice to harm anyone. Obviously, if you want to be a pure Buddhist, living life in nonviolence, we're not doing Tantra as a way of harming people, right? And the highest Yoga Tantra, that's actually a root downfall of your Tantric vows for Anuttara Yoga, is wanting to harm someone or having a malicious mind towards someone, or saying that you won't save. In other words, I want to become Buddha, lead all sentient beings to enlightenment, except this person here who I can't stand. If you have that kind of a mind wanting to harm anybody, technically you break all. From a tantric point of view, if you break your highest Yoga Tantra vows, it kind of cracks all the way down, kind of like the building falls over, and you break your Bodhisattva vow, and then by extension, even your Pratimoksha vows. It's kind of like the whole building falls over, right? So you never have that mind to harm anybody with their practice. 5, do not do tantric practices without at least Sajainong Tantric Empowerment, which we've talked about. 6, do not give tantric explanations or Wangchen empowerments to anyone who hasn't entered the mandala. So you can't, it says do not give tantric explanation. Wangchen, I said probably Wangchen. Like the whole point of giving a Wangchen is the person enters the mandala. But the point is you don't show any of these things, explain any of these things, show the rituals, do anything towards people who don't have the empowerment or who aren't tantric Buddhists. 7, do not eat or step over any mudras, symbols, deities. Do not walk over knives or deity implements, or walk over even sentient beings. So stepping over whatever little ants or insects on the ground is considered disrespectful. 8, do not criticize medicines. It's interesting. Do not step over or get dirty medicine. Be pure, never dirty. 9, don't debate out of competitiveness or doubt a bodhisattva's abilities. So all the different ways bodhisattvas can be help people. Don't have sort of a cynical mind towards, higher beings, lamas, Arya beings, geshes, any of these people, and just get sort of political and cynical because we don't know the ways in which, especially if they're clairvoyant, that they're helping sentient beings. 10, don't compete magically with others or get mad at others and then use wrathful tantric actions to get back at them. So don't, obviously, you get angry at your neighbor and throw a torma at them, or like chase someone down the street with a purba or whatever like that. Okay. Or whatever, or curse them, or just like do like black magic meditations where it's like, okay, I'm going to get you, my boss at work or whatever. Okay. 11, Kriya Tantra retreat. Try to take the 8 Mahayana precepts daily during the retreat, or at least at the full and new moons. That's very hard to do. But anyway, because the retreat's hard enough. Anyway, don't do anything out of attachment or enjoy things out of strong desire. Don't be defiled. Be clear and clean. Don't sing or dance or play or wear garlands or jewelry during the retreat. But even in your day-to-day life, that has to all be sort of toned down, right? And be mindful. So just like when you're taking the 8 Mahayana precepts, they say you don't have perfume on, you don't wear ornaments, you don't sit in a high luxurious bed. You be very, very humble and simple, and like your mind very tamed and tranquil and serene and quiet. 12, don't step over others. Be mindful, well-mannered. Don't speak loud and act crazy. 13, don't speak or engage in senseless talk, any sort of gossip or blah, 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 just hanging out, like whatever, just wasting your time talking all the time. That this sort of diminishes your prana, or your mantric power. 14, don't argue with non-Buddhists. No point. Like in Buddhist debate, you all have to agree in the first premise, which is we always say consider X or consider Y. Because you can only debate with people that you agree with, because it's about clarifying mind, coming to deeper understanding. You don't debate with people who disagree with you on these issues, because you just go around in a circle. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, the famous French philosopher, always said about political philosophy, it is dueling assumptions, dueling presuppositions. So in other words, you think humanity's free, I think humanity's enslaved, you think everyone's good, I think everybody's bad. And the point is, our starting points are different. So we can never really come to sort of a common understanding, because you're heading out this way, I'm heading out that way. In a lot of ways, it can be a big waste of time. So from a Kriya Tantra point of view, we're trying to do a retreat and be pure. You don't want to run around fighting with everybody for no purpose. 15, only talk with purpose. Only talk with one person, I guess, sort of at a time. And this is, it says your retreat attend. So technically talking with one person is like if you're doing a closed retreat, you have to just, the only people you're talking with or interacting with are the people helping you do the retreat. But again, it's also talking, like Thich Nhat Hanh says, having sort of that holy, mindful speech that you have all the time. Don't eat sesame and black foods. And of course, this affects the prana in your body. Higher Tantra, you can sort of eat or drink whatever you want. But in Kriya Tantra, very strict on the diet. So don't eat sesame and black foods, garlic, onions, eggs, radish, meat, and alcohol. Eat white foods like fruit and vegetables, grains, milk, yogurt, and cheese. Even Lamia, she says chocolate is okay, which is good, right? So of course, garlic, they say, makes you burp, meshes with your prana. Onions, they say, creates a lot of sexual desire. Eggs, of course, is considered like a meat. Radish, they say, makes you fart a lot, so it's sort of like in terms harder to digest. And of course, meat and alcohol are considered sort of unclean practice, sort of foods to eat. It's almost sort of a Brahmanic rule here on diet. But again, you can have white foods like yogurt and cheese and dairy. So when it last, the Kriya Tantra retreats I've led at my friend is retreat center, everybody's vegan. So we had to do this, and you couldn't have dairy. So it's basically, everyone gets a piece of bread and an apple. That's it. It wasn't that bad, but I'm just saying it makes it very, very challenging. Okay, 17. Don't use makeup or cosmetics. So be very, very sort of, it's almost like being, an old sort of Protestant in a lot of ways, like in the sense that, they, like if you're Mennonites or whatever, a lot of those orders, they don't want you you have to be sort of renounced and not worldly with no vanity, so you don't have makeup on. 18, Don't eat the meat of vicious animals. We're not allowed to eat the meat of any animal, but anyway. 19, don't step on chariots. In other words, using fancy vehicles or means of transport, don't be pompous. So you're a Kriya Tantra practitioner, you don't roll into your Kriya Tantra retreat cabin with your Lamborghini and whatever, this kind of thing, or get some fancy, top grade Uber guy to take you over to your retreat or wherever you're going. Don't touch garbage. 20, 21. Don't touch urine or feces. Don't put urine feces in lakes or bodies of water so as not to pollute Naga beings or sort of water spirits or local sort of spirit beings. 22, don't eat food that causes attachment. So, of course, like let's say junk food or too much chocolate or, like the stuff that, like, let's say you're really into Korean fried, well, you can't eat meat anyway. Let's say if you did, you're really into Korean fried chicken and it's like you're just because you're so fixated and love it, you don't want to sort of feed these kinds of obsessions. Usually it's kind of like sugar and junk food for that. 23, don't sleep with others or be intimate with broken vows and commitments because this pollutes your vows. In other words, if you're sleeping, and I've even been told, even if you just hang out with them or like basically sit on the couch with them, let alone sleep in the same bed with them, without even having sexual or intimacies, but just even being vibrationally with them, they have all sort of broken samaya or broken commitments. That affects your mind and your vibrational level. 24, don't watch TV, do strange, weird things, anything that would disturb, excite, upset, or confuse your mind. So, of course, just going on the internet, whether it's watching news or whatever else, violent video games, movies, videos, anything that sort of jacks you up, gets you all angry, gets you all desirous or horny, or gets you all sort of like completely addicted. Social media, fighting with people on social media, just like shopping all the time, or just seeing whatever, reading comments, or just like scrolling, getting you all addicted. There's no way to control your mind, purify it if you're doing that. This is a big thing. Wear white. 25. No dyed clothes. So if you're wearing dyed clothes, this idea is so no one thinks you're a lama or an ordained person and thinks that you're someone special. Don't wear old or dirty clothes, but technically you wear white. So especially for retreat, but technically if you're a Kriya Tantra person day-to-day practice, it's almost like being one of the Kundalini yoga people, sort of one of Yogi Bhajan's guys, where you've got like, like a little headscarf or a turban or whatever, and you're all in white. Now you don't have to have a turban, but this idea, and I know like there's Santeria people that do that they wear all white, right? And this is to show your purity, but also just to be simple and humble. No dyed clothes, nothing kind of fancy, just all white. So if you're a real Kriya Tantra person all the time, you would wear mostly white, like at least, like my friend David said, like he and teacher David, like, maybe he'd wear like sort of a nice Chinese style sort of Manchu shirt, or just like a nice Oxford button down white shirt all the time. Maybe whatever, white shoes, or if you're like a woman, you could wear like a white skirt or a white dress or something like that. Okay, 26, maintain tantric peer view. Don't be depressed or down or reactive. 27, be healthy. Do not get tired or get sick. 28, don't stop your retreat unless your lama or guru says to your formal retreat. 29, sleep on your right side to relieve anger and reactivity in your mind. So like the sleeping lion pose that Buddha did, the reclining Buddha, during retreat in your day-to-day life, you try and sleep that way because it presses down on that side channel responsible for anger or reactivity. 30, don't do wrathful tantric actions in retreat. This is, for the most part, Kriya Tantra deities are mostly, with the exception of Vajrapani and Vajrachala and so forth, they are peaceful deities, and we want to be peaceful. We don't want to do wrathful actions in retreat. 31, don't do any tantric practice to get worldly things. So the point is we're not doing these things for riches, fame, beauty, etc. So the 8 worldly dharmas of wanting stuff, wanting pleasures, comforts, conveniences, wanting to be famous, having a big reputation, wanting people to be nice to you, that's not the reason we're doing this. The only reason we're doing this is the 3 principal paths, in particular tantric bodhicitta. That's what we are doing our practice for. 32, bathe before each session, at least once a day, or this is if you're doing 4 retreat sessions a day, or at least brush your teeth and wash your hands before each session. So you have to do that every day as a Kriya Tantra practitioner. 33, if you have any meat, do not eat it before a session at the least. So anyway, if there's some kind of thing where you have to do it, you can't do Kriya Tantra practice right after having eaten meat. If there's some reason you can't maintain this sort of strict vegetarian lifestyle, as a Kriya Tantra practitioner, you can't, if you do have meat for whatever reason, you can't go and start doing Kriya Tantra practice after having done it. So for your Kriya Tantra retreat place, 34, place of retreat should be quiet, peaceful, relaxed, and clean. It should be pure healing environment. The place should not be dirty, close to a road, near traffic, near too many people, a place with noxious poisonous plants or substances, or a dangerous place. You should not feel insecure or nervous in the place. It is good to do retreat in a place of holy beings and objects like a temple, monastery, dharma center, retreat place, or healing center. 35. In retreat, establish your boundaries at how far you go on the place in whom you will meet. 36. In retreat, all worldly contact communication should be completed before you begin. 37. In retreat, determined to succeed. Think of how fortunate you are to practice the Dharma and be able to do the retreat. Have an attitude of gratitude. In particular, have so much gratitude and honoring Kriya Tantra in particular. 38. In retreat, it's good to eat breakfast and lunch. Dinner should be optional, skipped at best, or a light meal if needed, so mealtime does not disturb your concentration. 39. Clean your retreat room. Have no clutter or mess. Any objects of attachment are present. Non-retreatants and even animals, cats and dogs are not permitted to enter your room. Sprinkle saffron, sandalwood, or rose water in your room. So technically, because they have a different vibration. I know there's different thoughts on this because it's, oh my goodness, my dog loves sitting in my meditation room and my cat's on my lap. He's a sentient being. I want him to get enlightened too. That's all true, especially for higher Tantra. For Kriya Tantra, not so good to do that, at least when you're in formal session, right? They say this is a little bit more strict that way. So again, when I'm reading these retreat things, it's almost like a way to live your life in your apartment or house every day, right? So you'd have to sort of see about that, but it would have to be a clean place if you're doing your work and not having, like when you're doing your specific Kriya Tantra practices, it should just be you there doing the work, not having anything dirty or cats and dogs running around in your room with you. Okay, yes, 40. Under your meditation seat, draw a clockwise facing swastika, which represents stability, swasti, all is well. It might be a little controversial for some people who don't like the swastika because of Nazism, but this is an ancient symbol. Every culture really north of the equator, because it symbolizes the movement of the Big Dipper through the sky, has swastikas that mean this. So you put this under your seat to make it solid, like your seat won't move, so you're not like moving it around or getting all fussy or kind of a little neurotic when you're doing your practice. You also have 2 pieces of kusha grass and durwa or Shivite grass, that sort of like a trident grass, that Indian grass you can get, or what they call like a long life grass. Technically, maybe North America, you could put sweet grass underneath it, right? So put these under your cushion and pointing to sort of straight ahead, sort of through the middle of the swastika. Do not move your cushion once you've started retreat. It just has to stay put there and get all the energy and be just like Buddha's cushion under the Bodhi tree, where you sit and you don't get distracted. 41. Your retreat rosary, once retreat starts, must not leave the meditation room. Before the retreat starts, have your Lama Guru bless your rosary each day for a session with the mantra. Rutsira Mani Prabha Taya Hum is the mantra that you would use. 42. Offer a white conical shaped torma cake as a Shridakar offered to local spirits, local spirit guardians of the neighborhood. Start your retreat. Visualize that whatever these beings need and would enjoy, and feel that you're offering your body and speech to these beings. Sacrifice yourself for the welfare of sentient beings. So whenever you're doing, and it's good to do this all the time anyway, making offerings for the spirit world, local spirit guardians and all of them that live there, to sort of include them into your mandala and sort of be like a good neighbor and do work on their behalf as well. 43. In retreat, change your water bowls and light offerings every session. Offer new incense with each session. 44. In retreat, offer a small portion of your food and drink to the deity in 3 jewels, placing the offering on the altar. This loosens attachment, develops the paramita of giving. You can eat and drink the offering as prasad, or a blessing, sort of blessed offering substance, the following day. So technically, if you're just not even in retreat as a Kriya Tantra person, you should be doing this. 45. Retreat sessions should be an hour's length, and retreat structured like a barley stew, the beginning and last sessions of the retreat being shorter, those at the middle session being longer and more intense. Do 4 sessions daily. These being before sunrise, before breakfast and lunch, between lunch and dinner and after dinner. Do not be in session during the energetic vibrational change periods of sunrise, noon, sunset, and midnight. Come to your session on time and in a relaxed manner. Do not disturb yourself or others if you're in a group Kriya Tantra retreat. 46, mantra recitation, anytime you're doing mantras, should be clear, clean, smooth, should be uniform in rhythm and pitch, not slurred or irregular, not too loud, soft, quick, or slow. You should hear it yourself, but not be loud enough for others to clearly hear. Do not disturb others in retreat with your recitation. Recitation should be done with single point of concentration and visualization. If you leave the room and get up from your cushion during the recitation, you're not permitted to count or accept the mantras counted in that particular session. If you fall asleep, drop your rosary, lose concentration, get angry, or say the wrong mantra, you're not permitted to count the mantras from that round of the rosary. If you fart or break wind, there's sort of like a penalty that you have to recount 7 mantras. If you cough, sneeze, clear your throat, a hiccup, burp, or blow your nose, the penalty is that you have to recount 5 mantras. Do not waste your breath. Do not waste prana. Even refrain from singing, blowing out candles, whistling, etc. Yeah, so I've actually heard if you fall asleep, you don't count anything from that session. So it's one thing if you just make a mistake, you can redo your round of your rosary. But they always say if you fall asleep and you drop your rosary, you don't count any of the mantras that you've counted that entire session, because it's like you don't know if you've been asleep or not, right? These are kind of like old style rules, right? Okay, 47, do not take things in and out of your meditation room, especially commitment objects and substances such as your Dorje Power rosary. 48, do not let others, especially non-retreatants, sit on your cushion or sleep in your bed because it has all your energy. 49, do not let others use your plates, cups, bowls, or cutlery, and do not use other people's either, because it has your energy to it. So it always looks neurotic when you're in a retreat, you always have your own stuff, right? It's like, you think everyone else is dirty, but it's like technically, energetically, it's your stuff, like your clothes, your possession, your energy. So you want to keep that pure, that's your container. So you don't use other people's, or again, sit on other people's cushion, my goodness, or during retreat, whatever, get into their bed and fall asleep, have a nap in their bed. That has all their energy, and you're kind of mixing or polluting or mixing up energies there, right? Number 50, big one. Do not touch weapons. Do not pointed objects like knives and arrows at yourself or others, or put them in your mouth. So that's considered, don't Kriya Tantra, you're a person at peace, all dressed in white, doing the 3 principal paths, so you don't touch weapons. And again, don't touch sharp objects, don't point them at people. And again, don't put them in your mouth. That's considered kind of like bad luck, because again, it's almost like cutting, poking at your energy, your prana from your mantra work. So again, these are sort of retreat conditions, a lot of them here in the rules, but technically as a Kriya Tantra person, it's kind of like you're in retreat all the time. You're living this lifestyle. You have this whole world or symbolic universe that you're embodying on a day-to-day basis. So it's not something that's kind of turn on and off like a light. You're always kind of going to be this way. And so, like I say, it is kind of being like Orthodox Jew or like really sort of devout Muslim or something, where it's your entire lifestyle and people see you as such, where it's like, wow, Matthew's all in white. He's like total veggie guy, see, like Thich Nhat Hanh, super peaceful, always sing mantras and like so careful, almost like a traditional Jain in India, Jain religious people, where they got sky clad, where they're even naked, they have no possessions, right? Or they have, some Zen guys even did this in Japan, where they wear a mask and they have a broom sweeping in front of them because they don't want to step on any bugs or little animal or something like that. It always seems a little bit neurotic or kind of over the top, a little bit too extreme. But again, you're making a complete world of purity and mindfulness and metta and loving kindness and compassion, right? So, and wisdom. So that's why we call it Kriya Tantra. It's about these actions, performing these actions to get these realizations. Okay, so we'll leave it, the first part here was all the main rules. And the second part I'm going to do is just on a little bit more retreat conditions and talk about that. So again, let's dedicate all this merit. May it be put towards the enlightenment of all sentient beings, and may all the Buddhists bless us that if we really want to practice this Kriya Tantra, may we have the ability to really, really live our lives this way. So blessings of all holy beings, truth of karma, power of pure intention, and all of our dharma wishes be fulfilled. Okay, we'll see you next time for part 2.